So let's start with the family outside of the United States and where we came from.
Yeah, Germany. William and Helen, they rolled into Sarpy County in 1892 or 1893, and I think also William's brother. And I settled in Sarpy County. I think Nebraska winters proved to be a little too cold for the family because 3-month-old, 6-month-old children were dying. And so Otto, which would be 5 generations back for you, William 6, his brother and cousin, they passed away in Sarpy County. So I think the family decided we got to go to someplace warmer. So they headed to Orange County, California, and instead of working on dairy farms, worked in a vineyard and hops farm. And then I think William cut himself on like the hops growing pole, and back then, without tetanus, lockjaw set in, and he passed away in 1907. Yeah, so then Helen moved back to Sarpy County with 5 kids. Otto and a brother, and 3 sisters. So then I guess Helen settled with the new man, and that man wasn't interested in all those children. So the sad story then goes Otto at age 11 and then Rudy at age 9. They needed to find farm families to live with, and then the girls as well, where they could trade labor for room and board. So yeah, wow. That's kind of how it started. And Otto just worked and married Anna, and they working for farm families and settled in Sarpy County here with a couple by the name of Chris and Christina Cordes. They own 5, 6, 7 farms. I don't know, but this is one of them. And must have been hard workers and really got along with them. The Cordeses didn't have any children, so the legend has it before they passed, they called my grandma up, Christina did, and back in, I think it was 58, said, hey, let's go into the courthouse. Can you pick me up? I think she was in a retirement home by then. Would have been your great-great-grandma. Took off, picked Christina up, took her to the courthouse, and what are we going to do? Well, wait here. Come on in. And that's the day Christina sold the 340 acres and the farm that we know today for $1.
And they're rummaging through the purse to find the change. And then Miss Cordes was trying to offer her own money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, she didn't have a folding dollar. So, yeah, you had to try to find some purse change and or neighbor change to buy the farm for $1. And then I think the $1.15 for the Register of Deeds was even a bigger challenge. But they did get that done that day, and Otto was back here probably working, and those 2 powerful women to close the deal, back in that day, and they thought they probably had to let Otto know what they just did. So I think they came back, had lunch, and broke him the news. But that's how it all started, right? And that's 5 generations for me, 6 generations for you. And we're just fortunate enough to have 60 of those original 340 acres.
Right. So then it got handed down to Kenneth and Norma.
Right.
Which would be your grandparents.
Sure. And then, Kenneth's sister. And, Kenneth, we call Papa. He focused on this, the farm place and the 60 that we've got. He already owned 80. And then Rainey had 140. There was the intention for them to keep this legacy ground, right? And I'm sure there were several offers he had throughout the years. But then when the great-grandparents for me passed in '81. My parents, we moved here and moved into the house, which was built in 1896.
Wait, so your great grandparents passed in 1981.
Yep.
That you said.
I think, yeah, 79 and 81.
How far apart was
A couple
their-
years, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we rolled down here in '81, and the house was valued at $200.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so yeah, when they sold out of the farm for $1, also the stipulation was all the proceeds and revenue of the farm would continue going back to the original family there.
Okay.
So they didn't have a lot of money, but look what they left, right? So yeah, Kenny kept that all these years. Let my parents and I and my sister live here, and then eventually he sold Jenny and I the place, 5 acres in '94, and then settled the rest of the ground with the estate with the rest of the family in 2012.
So how did it work with your mom and dad with living here in the old house?
Yeah, I think Papa's vision was there's people taking care of the place. Obviously, there was a lot to do with the $200 house, and a lot of money needed to be invested into it, and all the barns, the barn painting, that kind of stuff. We were just trying to keep the place livable, and I think he was good with that. So there was no transfer of any deed or title.
No, so
at that
so
point,
you guys
no.
were just living
We were just living
in there.
and
Okay.
just trying to keep it up.
Gotcha.
And I think he was good with that. And again, at the time, all family kind of estate proceeds, sales, understanding it's hard, it's complicated. How do you
Yep.
put a value on it, right? So
Right.
I don't think he wanted to do that, so he just let us live here.
So did Kenneth and Norma move? When did they move to that house in Waverly?
Shoot, I don't know. I think they might have lived in Lee for a bit, maybe
Oh,
lived downtown packing for a while and Lee. But I mean, the cool part about that old house we lived in would have been, like your grandpa, my dad, me, and you. I mean, we all lived there, right?
How many layers of paint
Yeah,
were there on
I don't know.
the post in the kitchen?
Shoot, I think when we started pulling the wallpaper off, there were 17 layers, and then we realized that's the insulation because there's nothing in the walls to speak of, so I had to blow some insulation in, and the old furnace and oil burner and no AC, and then we got window air, and I mean, holy smokes, 1,200 square feet, one bathroom. It was like camping out. I mean,
Wow.
You probably remember that.
Oh yeah. Yep, I think that house only had maybe a few more years left in it before it probably just fell over.
Well, name a house that can serve 5 generations.
No
And
kidding.
So it was a legacy, but yet when we were able to build a new house, I think it was okay, time to go.
Yeah. Yeah. And we buried it.
Yeah.
Proper burial.
Yep.
It's still sitting over there. Okay, so that's that's kind of the family legacy deal. So let's talk more about you and growing up here, and let's start with childhood first. So you were born which hospital?
Clarkson.
Clarkson. Oh, and there's a funny story about that with the birth certificate too.
Yeah.
So what, we were cleaning the granary, or you and Luke were cleaning the granary. Luke is my brother.
Yeah. I kind of thought I was keeping all the proper documentation proper, but apparently I had some stuff stored in the granary there.
Yeah.
And we were maybe going to throw some stuff away, and he's like, might want to save this one.
Right. So back to childhood. Elementary school, you were Westmont.
We started in,
Right.
We lived in Ralston for a while.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so, coming to the farm was a big treat, right?
Yeah.
Heck, I've been mowing this place since I was old enough to, and when they talk about push mowers, they're really talking about pushing them, right? And yeah, I mean, shoot, the thistles were as high as a tractor tire, and that's what you see out here is now this pristine town grass.
Um, what kind of manual labor and stuff did you do typically around here?
Oh shoot, just like I said, like the old barns and barnyards and stuff like that, trying to convert those from what used to be feedlot kind of thing to something that was presentable.
Sure.
It was just riding around on the old farmall that we still have, I think it's a 43, and just shredding and just cutting the grass and trying to
Logging, that was one form of currency as well, wasn't it?
For sure. That's where all the ATV trails come from, is just cutting logs. And at the time it was a little bit of extra cash as well.
Grocery money.
So that was kind of grocery money, and that was fun. I thought it was fun. It was probably more like grocery money than fun. But yeah, delivering wood out to the West Omaha houses, thinking it'd be cool to maybe have a go-kart someday.
Yeah.
Now we got a few UTVs and ATVs, and you got your Honda hat on.
You got the Honda hat. We'll get into the 80s here in a little bit.
But yeah, I mean, it was great. It was coming out. Great grandma and grandpa were here. Great grandpa didn't say much. KFAB radio, enamel, kitchen cabinets, the old folding chair, kitchen table stuff, and great grandma, she was feisty and she loved me. I mean, she always saved the popsicles on the freezer, international freezer.
She'd hide them, didn't she?
She hid them for me. I don't know why. I might have been extra special, but I did a lot of work here. I mean,
yeah.
You know me even today. Work is my hobby. So we're just trying to make it look nice, and for the most part, I think we did. But we were limited on equipment and what we had available. You only
Sure.
could push so much. It wasn't the farm all. It was just this push mower. And
So that was like the only working rig around here at that time, right?
Like
I mean, there weren't any, didn't have any Polaris Rangers or
No.
four-wheelers or anything like that.
No,
it was just the old farm.
And the timber was a spaghetti bowl of just downed trees, and
Yeah.
it was a mess. Log chains and tractors, and not like you got a grapple like we do today
Right.
with the skidster.
Yeah, that's done wonders to make the property look really nice. So Otto farmed, Kenneth also farmed, and then your dad kind of it just wasn't for him. Well, he
Yeah.
probably farmed a little bit when he was younger with
Sure.
with Kenneth.
Yeah, and you grow up on a farm and you got to choose, I'm going to be a farmer or I'm going to go to work in town. And my dad, your grandpa, decided he wanted to go to the Navy. So he went to the Navy. Aviation was his thing, and sold aircraft parts, and then transitioned that into an auction company that was extremely successful in the early 80s. But back to Otto, I mean, he would be milking cows right here where we're set up. This is a dairy barn, right?
Right.
And productive dairy barn, and it was a jewel of this property. Because, I mean, back in those days, it wasn't your house that people were most proud of, it was your barns.
Yeah.
And that's the thing for me, is like these outbuildings. Like, everybody sees the wooden buildings and they want a metal shed, and obviously, the metal sheds are great for storage and they're more practical and so on and so forth. But you just can't replicate the old wooden barn look. And everybody wants one, everybody wants a barn door. Heck, we've got 3 major barns, right? But those early days when we had no money, I mean, the first thing I did was put roofs on these.
Yep.
Begged, borrowed, I didn't steal, but you know what I'm saying. Put everything I could to try to find money to put the roofs on them, because if you don't, the rain gets to them, and you can see the stains. Heck, you go to the barn roof here in the middle of the day, you look up, it looks like stars, all the holes in the roof. But if you got time, you don't got money. If you got money, you don't got time, and you're trying to put both together. It's been a 30-year labor of love to wrap these things, with new siding,
Right.
paint, windows, trim, especially the roofs. So
Was it? I can't remember. We did the corn crib first, or did we do the granary first?
yeah, we started, with the corn crib, and that was a situation where the siding, at the time, I was just trying to figure it out. We just went over the top of the siding, and it worked out pretty good. On the granary, we took it completely down, because actually the siding in those days, and that was an older building, was actually part of. I mean, there was no plywood. It was true like 1x8, and when you took that off, you're just down to the studs,
Right.
and you know you only do so much at a time. The only one thing about old Papa Polenz once said that grading just needs to be torn down, and that broke my heart a little bit because I want to save them all.
Yeah.
And that 2017 wind, the only thing that kept that barn up was the power line, which was banjo tight.
Yep.
And then I had to park the loader tractor on it and push it southeast
I
just to
remember
get
that,
a little bit
yeah.
of close to.
Because it was leaning.
It was leaning and twisted.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had to get like a building guy out here with his, you know, his electronic level, and it was 12 inches off this side, 18 that side, twisted up, down, inside out, and then yeah, we just lined it with 3/4 plywood inside, 5/8 outside, trued it up straight, and rebuilt new doors, and it's amazing.
Yep.
Yeah,
and
I
all
mean-
new doors on it too. Yeah, we actually built those
Right.
in the new garage.
And we got before and after pictures on that, and it's when you get it all the siding off, you're wondering. But there, it was there, you know, and that wasn't rotten. But I love it, you know, and who's got that? It's, you know, and today they're all grain bins. That's the little round steel galvanized
Yep.
bins. So back then, it was a granary. So it's got the upstairs, downstairs. That's what you put the grain. You know, the
Yeah.
corn cribs, the full ear corn, but that was the granary. And actually, we got some seals in there where you'd seal off the granary door if you had a farm loan, because that was property of the U.S. government, I guess, at the time. So those granaries got sealed off, and when the grain got sold,
Wow.
until it did. So,
I did not know that.
Kind of crazy.
It is. So back to 80s. You're in high school. You go to Platteview, which I went to as well. Platteview High School. So I had second gen Platteview graduate.
It's only a mile away.
Right, only a mile down the road. So with the auctioning deal with your dad's business, you considered auctioning school, or did you actually go to auctioning school, or did you just?
Yeah, so, yeah, I kind of grew up with it. So, shoot, 9, 10.
Yeah.
We got this family business going on in the living room. It's making more money for my family in a weekend than my dad used to make all year. So it was something we were committed to. And his specialty in the aviation field made him an expert in selling out, you know, fixed-based operations in airports. And he knew all the inventory. So yeah, so there's a lot of travel because it was not just, you know, local, it was national. And yeah, I didn't get to play much of baseball because we were running a company.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're putting on stamps and doing mailers and traveling. And yeah, I learned how to chant, and that was kind of the thing. At the time, yeah, be what your dad is. And so, yeah, the auction company was probably what my future was going to look like, you know, but we know what happened on June 8th, 1985. He was involved in a car accident, and he was a passenger, and he didn't make it home. So it was a sad deal.
And that was down in Texas, wasn't it?
Yeah, Texas, Arkansas kind of border in there.
Was it business that he was down there, like
Yeah.
for business?
Yeah, big 2-day aircraft sale and traveling or riding around with the customer, coming back, and yeah, so tragic.
So throughout, let's say, junior high, early years of high school, did you see yourself as like an auctioneer? Is that like what you thought, okay, this is my career path? Or were you considering college while doing the auctioneer?
Well, we certainly
Yeah.
tried. So I'm 15 years old, and I'm the vice president of an auction company.
Yeah.
Driving a dually 4-door to South Carolina and telling people 10, 15 years older than me what to do in the summers. I mean, holy smokes. We certainly gave it a run.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then we realized this probably ain't going to work. You know, the folks that work for us decided to do their own thing, and they knew enough, and they were older, and so my mom decided to get the job, and I decided to be the first one to go to 4-year college.
In your family, correct?
I think on both sides. Yeah.
Wow.
And financed my way through that. Had a little money from the auction company. Got in, got out, no debt. Was a resident assistant, and worked, and I got my business degree.
And then you went to a company for the rest of your life. One company.
Yeah, we don't have to name them, but 31 years deep.
That's pretty impressive.
Just an amazing place where the opportunity for growth is only limited by your work ethic. So certainly glad to find that company and continue on with them. And obviously, you think about this place, you think about the money it takes to keep the barns up,
right?
Be able to build a new house. I mean, I credit the company I work for a lot of that, but the legacy of the ground and the buildings and what it is from the family, and that's from generational work, because a lot of times you pull in here and you're looking at the bright red barns and the green grass and the white rock and the new house and the timber, and you're just thinking, what in the heck? How lucky are they?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's luck, I mean, that's the easy way to think about it. A lot of people say you're privileged, which I think you are, but I think that turned into a bad word somehow. So I won't call it that. Obviously, blessings come to mind. There's been some tragedy and some up and down, but I mean, maybe God has a plan, and maybe this is it, and maybe we're living it out.
Kind of feels like it.
But I think most important for me is just a steward of the land during my time. And if I can go down as, the generation that rebuilt and saved the barns and was able to, open those trails and maximize, just the fun factor for all of our friends, all of our family, and maybe most importantly, the unborn grandchildren that are down the line. And so they can look back and say, he did his part. And I kind of think previous generations probably think the same.
Absolutely.
So that's what makes it special.
Yeah. And if there's one place that you liked being besides here, let's talk a little bit more about your other grandparents.
Yeah.
So your mother's parents.
The Novachiks, oh yeah, you betcha.
Oh yeah.
And the Haras. So you got some Polish and some Czech on that side. You got German on this side. So, it's a pretty good combo. A lot of hard work ethic there. What's interesting about Papa Joe, no better investment on earth than earth itself.
Yep.
Never. So true. They aren't making any more of it. So true. And our biggest investment is the 60 acres, right? But he was a hard worker. I think in his eulogy, it went down like his hobby was hard work. And that's just who he was, and that's what he did. And that's a blessing, because that hard work will get you, and persistence will get you a long ways. And whatever you do, just try to be the best at it. And I think and he was a talker, and he was a conversationalist.
Yeah. And
he was loud, and unfortunately, I think I got some of his hairline in here. So I guess thank you, Papa Joe, for that one. But you combine that, with the other side, and believe it or not, Papa Joe was a corn husking champion in Boone County, and Otto, in 1921, was the corn husking champion of Sarpy County. So, and your brother went to UNL. I know you went to UNL. We went to UNK, but Cornhusker is a different meaning.
Yeah, we're pretty
when you're husking
we're
it.
pretty rooted corn huskers.
Yeah, if you know what those little gloves are with the hook, that opens the ear, open the husk so you can get the ear out. And I think back in the day, if you could do 100 bushels, that's like state track meet kind of material. And but the average guy, gal, whoever's doing it, could do maybe 60. So, yeah, I mean, that's real work. We tried it, just with some of the corn stalks that the combine missed here, and we were pretty good after half an hour. Can you imagine doing that for 8 hours? So, go Big Red.
And also the whole pheasant hunting aspect. So when I was little, going out there and...
Yeah, that part of the country, it's just rolling hills and a lot of cover and prairie grass, and yeah, it's great for pheasant. So we probably had 20 years of just amazing, pheasant hunting opportunity up there.
So, let's talk about hunting too. So we don't really know if Otto did a lot of it. I mean, he might have done it a little bit. But
the only thing I heard on the timber and animals is he used to claim there's monkeys in the timber.
I do remember that. I remember that story. Yeah,
So,
he used to claim there were monkeys.
I don't know if he had a lot of time.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah, I just think, I don't know for sure. I know Grandma Poe liked bunnies. Go shoot me a bunny for the pot kind of thing, right? But I don't know if it got into big game. I don't think they had the turkeys back then. My guess is they had some whitetail. Yeah, because...
Probably with the crop and...
Yeah, because in 71, that big whitetail in the basement was shot here.
And that's Kenneth's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so... But I'm guessing Otto didn't do a lot of hunting. Now, what he didn't realize is, the kind of hunting paradise it is.
Right.
What we do with the CRP, with the row crop, with the spring, with the 3,000 pounds of, food, mineral, and supplement that we put down in the winter so the does are healthy, so they can have twins, if not triplets, and carry on the genes and the cameras that we got, and we name the bucks, and we know which one, has the potential to be a wall hanger.
Right. Watching them grow is also a pretty cool experience, like over the years and passing on them. And
it's game management, and it's hard to do with a smaller piece of ground, but if you don't push them out, you can be successful, and obviously we all have. And that's getting fewer and far between.
So did you hunt with your dad more, or with your grandpa more, Kenneth, or?
Yeah, I mean, all of them, really. Papa Joe took me out to the old minimum maintenance roads. We kick up some pheasants there. That was always fun. Papa a little bit. I wouldn't say he was as big a hunter, but he did, and he had rifles and shotguns, but I wouldn't say it was his passion. I think my dad and I certainly, he's probably into guns a little more, 22s, 410 bolt action back in the day, you like bolt action, shotgun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it started. And gun safety is so certainly important, muzzle control, understanding how things work, putting them away properly, cleaning them, and respect for them is something, I learned early on.
Right.
So, yeah.
And then your interest in firearms, would it be safe to say that your father-in-law kind of sparked that?
Yeah, he put, I would say that's the turbo. That's the nitrous. That's the next level.
Yeah.
But, people do collect things, and I would say he's probably a collector on the verge of a hoarder.
Yeah.
But that's okay. It's good. But, I mean, for me, it's also just a way to also generationally pass something down, right?
Yes.
So it's not like the 410 single shot is the most valuable firearm we've got, but yet, again, to me, it's priceless.
Yep.
Because it's great grandma's, right? Or, great uncles or, grandpas, or, it's just that kind of legacy. Some people get it and some people don't. That's okay if you don't, but that works for us. And, we shoot a lot of targets and we do a lot of accuracy, and we shoot, the gongs out there and reactionary, and shoot for speed. And the people that haven't done it, that we show, can you have some fun with it? They love it.
Yeah.
And you got to do it safely. You got to help them out with the safety and making sure the muzzle's downrange and all that. But I mean, certainly, they're sporting and they're a lot of fun. And when you take an animal, you do it with respect, and you process the meat, you share that during Christmas, and everybody loves it. And so I think it's a pretty healthy sport, and it's a good hobby.
Yeah. So one more thing that I'd like to talk about, your attire is very nice.
Oh, well, thanks.
Let's so that started, kind of our heritage Western style. That started with Kenneth.
Yeah.
Correct?
I would say so, yeah, because I think Otto was always the overalls guy. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's the American cowboy heritage.
Yes.
I mean, but it was probably natural for my grandpa to wear a Stetson. But then I would say for like my dad in the late 70s,
I mean, that was in.
a little urban cowboyish,
Yeah.
but I mean, that was probably more 80s, 90s.
Sure.
But I would say he's the only person in high school that I know Dad rolled into the high school with the hat on.
The hat on, yeah.
Yeah, it was like, who's that guy? I mean, I was always proud of him. I was his shadow. I was just that, and we're all hat, no cattle. I get that part. But yet, it's just a legacy for me because, he was country when country was uncool.
Right.
I mean, now, especially after like maybe the series Yellowstone or something,
Sure.
Everybody's getting into it, which I think is great. I think I was the only one to wear boots at work for the longest time, and now most of the folks,
Are rocking
are.
them.
So
yeah.
I don't mind it, but there's times, too, and not. But I enjoy it. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, and we still have, actually right behind this wall here, there's a staircase that leads up to the barn loft here, and it's lined with Lou Casey's, Tony Lama's, Dan Post's, from,
For sure.
great grandpa Kenneth to Grandpa Dick to a few of our old boots.
For sure.
And still got Kenneth Stetson in the gun vault.
Mm-hmm.
So just kind of trying to continue that
That's it.
tradition.
None of them fit me, but
Yeah, we've worked up quite the collection.
yeah, I
of
think you took it
boots
to
and-
another level after working for your boot store.
Yeah.
But then again, boot every quarter and boot on your birthday, and 50% discount doesn't hurt.
No, it don't. No, it don't. Well, shoot, I think we can call it here. Thanks for coming on the first official barn sessions.
You bet.
Alrighty.
We'll have to do it again.
Absolutely.
All right.